This is the 2-9 Report.
Welcome to the 2-9 Report. I'm your man, Sam Madison. And of course, I got my host. Go ahead, man. Introduce yourself because, I don't do yourself no justice. Go ahead.
Exactly. Arturo Freeman here, former NFL Dolphin, sitting here riding high with my guy, T9.
Hey, listen, man, we just got to jump right into it. Even like last week, Turo, we had breaking news right off the rip. We had to jump right into it. This is what everybody want to know. This is what everybody want to talk about. But yet and still, there's a lot of other stuff. Man, Thursday night football, we see our starting quarterback, who we was looking forward to taking us a very long way, and now you look at this guy could potentially Tua Tagovailoa could potentially be sidelined for a very long time. What's your thoughts, and how did you see that playing out that late in the game with Tua?
Oh, man, it's just very unfortunate, understanding that Tua has a documented history of concussions is total of 3 now. That's what's being documented, but I'm sure there's a little bit more because each one that has been highlighted it seems to take a toll, and it's been different. So, with this understanding that 2022 he had the 2, now 2024 most recent in the Bills game, everything is up for question.
Yeah, and even Turo, sorry to cut you off, even with that late in the game, still I know, as a quarterback, you want to show your team that you are still in it. You're fighting all the way to the end, and he's showing the grit. He wanted to show the toughness, got the big contract on the off season, and you want to, show the organization, your teammates, the fans, the doubters, that they were wrong. But, in this day and age, you still want to protect yourself and you want to protect the team because, you're a starting quarterback, and everybody's looking for you, to take us to the promised land.
Absolutely, but the biggest thing about it, Sam, that I watching the play and watching the series is throughout that entire first 3 quarters, he's a football player. We forget that he's a football player first. How many times did he take a snap in Little League, in high school, and in college, and he didn't think about sliding? This is not baseball. Even though those guys, they practice jujitsu, they practice getting on the ground, they practice baseball slides. When it all said and done, your football 101 kicks in. Get the first down.
Yep.
Hell or high water. Do I drop my shoulders? Do I drop my neck? And if you watch it, the undoubtable situation that Hamlin is the one that tackles him. Hamlin.
Absolutely, Turo. And that's what I was about to say. And as you can see, Hamlin, in that situation and throughout the NFL over the last 5, 6, 7 years with, quarterbacks being protected and players being protected in general, quarterbacks on the sideline, taking that extra 1, 2, 3, 4 steps down because guys don't want that fine. They want to protect the quarterbacks. They want them, to be upright. But, in this situation, Hamlin was coming over there thinking that he was going to slide because Tua ran into his thigh pads.
Yes, he ran into him. He absorbed, as we say in the defensive back room, in the safety room, he absorbed that tackle.
Yes.
He absorbed it. He became the fence. He put his foot in the ground, became the fence. But that just shows you that, you're running into a brick wall. These guys are consistently every play. Running into the hammer, as we say, running into the hammer. So at the end of the day, like I said before, Tua's a football player, and those instincts kicked in. Unfortunately, this is the third documented one.
Yeah.
So now the big question is, I'm sure you've heard many rollout stories and what's next and who's the guest, what's the trade gonna look like, who's coming out the booth. Elaborate a little bit. I want to hear what you've been hearing.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of stuff out there, and we can always go back to history with no matter if it's the Dolphins or any of the other 31 teams in the league, all of these things and rumors are being thrown out, but yet still behind closed doors, other objectives are being handled and looking at, money and how it fits and all of these different things. So, first off, this is for you and I, Turo, this is uncharted territory because we didn't play Thursday night games, so
Absolutely.
there's pros and there's cons, to it, looking at it, being able to be in the building, in those situations. Uh, you know, we wanted more games, and the league got them, but the recovery part of it, or the practice part of it, and then it
Right.
becomes the performance. We still go back and after a game on Sunday, Turo, you've seen me after games. Like, man, I give everything I've had, and these are the things that we talk about. Our experiences and being able to look at it objectively and give our listeners the inside scoop. Like Wednesday, I used to be a train wreck at practice. It was more mental for me because of the things that I have to go through on Sunday to be prepared to play at my highest point, and to be ready. So when the back end of organizations are looking at quarterback, they don't want to give up a whole lot of, and it's the beginning of the season. They still have trust and believe, but it's just really hard to win in this league unless you have a true, backup quarterback that can be able to man the fort and hold up until your quarterback get back. But I don't know if he's going to be able to come back to roll because, like you saying, these documented, the undocumented that we don't know, because we see he's going to fight through stuff, but he's not going to quit. He's not going to quit.
No, it's not quitting
And,
here.
it's going to be, intervention is going to have to kick in at some point. But Turo, I mean, I knew two documented leading up, one in high school, one in college, but are you going to sit there and tell me that I'm not going to continue to play for 12 years? And it probably is or was some type of undocumented one in there somewhere. But, this is the nature in the sport that we play.
Absolutely. So I'm on board with you with concern into it and the decisions.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned about being a physical wreck, on Wednesdays and the recovery time. That's a big factor, Sam. I mean,
Yep.
it's to jump back in and play on Thursday after the first week, after it was a tough game first week.
Yeah.
Let's not think that each league game is not tough. Think about it. They're not tackling in camp. They're not
No.
going to the ground in camp.
Mm-hmm.
So when you get your first real live, and some of the guys not playing in preseason. So when you get your first real live tackle to the ground, because the ground don't lose. It doesn't give. It's undefeated. So your first tackle to the ground, your first hit tackle, whether you're receiving or you're delivering, it's the same
Mm-hmm.
thing. So understanding that you didn't have it all 8 weeks, all 12 weeks, from summer to preseason, and now you get hit, and you have Monday, Tuesday, literally 2 days to recover.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
It's,
And they want you
it's
to
the
go out
reason
there
why
and
they
play
play
at
every Sunday. No way.
Yeah, and they want you to go out there and play at your highest. That's what the fans are expecting. And it is a AFC East divisional game. You know how tough that's going to
Yes,
be. And it's the
that's tough.
Buffalo Bills.
That's
Man,
tough. And they're
that's
going through a bunch of
tough.
injuries themselves,
It's going to be a knockdown drag out in itself.
regardless, no
Just
matter what.
yeah, yeah. So, a game, it could have been another. Why did it have to be, that team, that early? And it's every team in the NFL, right? Because every team is going to play on a Thursday. But
Hmm.
this is the territory that we're in, and you asked the question, for as guys that's out there. Tom Brady, we can stop. He's not coming out of the booth. I can guarantee you. So, I know that was something that you probably, what am I here? He's in a comfortable situation, and week one, him doing he was okay. week 2, he did a whole lot better. And I guarantee you, moving forward, Tom Brady's going to be doing pretty darn good on television.
Absolutely, absolutely. He's going to be clicking on all cylinders because he is a football mind, and when a football mind is able to articulate
Yeah.
uh, in his fashion as fast as he can, and getting the hang of the swing and the knowing that he's talking to the listeners. Oh man, we're going to hear some great things from Tom.
Yeah.
It's going to be out of this world.
And Tua, when you're sitting there watching games and I'm sitting and as soon as something happens, I'm like, oh, yeah, that's a holding. And then they're like, no, no, no. Then they was like, oh, how did you see that? That's Tom Brady. Like, he's one of the
Right,
best.
right,
He's up there at the top. Like, he's going to
right.
see
He
stuff.
got
Now
eight
he's
Super
going to be
Bowls.
able to gather that information, deliver it to the fans, um, to the children, to the women, and just sports, enthusiasts in itself, but in a way from a GOAT perspective. And I only look for him to get better, and look for him to do good things. But I don't think he's coming out of the booth. Some other things were some trades, Wentz, with Kansas City and, just some other things. But, you know, Mike McDaniels as well as Greer, they came up with something that fits their offense, their style of what they're trying to get accomplished. And, they go out and get Tyler Huntley off the practice squad. That is, one of the, great and toughest things, because we had Brooks, a backup running back. Okay, he's been on IR. All of a sudden, a team, they get injured. Man, he plucked. He's gone. Now the Dolphins are able to go and get Huntley, and now he's the backup to Skylar Thompson. For the Miami Dolphins off the Jacksonville Jaguars, backing up Lamar Jackson over the last couple of years.
Right, right. So I mean, like you said, we're playing. Let's play GM. We're on the couch and we're playing general manager and head coach meeting. You could be the GM, I could be the head coach. You could be the head coach, I could be the GM. And you're
Mm-hmm.
absolutely right. Those conversations are typically going like this. This is where we are, Mike. This is what we have, Mike. This is what we can do, Mike. This is what we invested, Mike. So there's no money at this point to do A, B, or C. How do
Mm-hmm.
you feel, Mike, about Brooks? How do you feel about, is he capable? What do we need to go do? Head coach is saying, hey, I need a backup for my backup.
Yeah.
I need at this point now everything shakes up, because I'm carrying 3 or 4 running backs. We may be at 4 or 5 running backs because they have a deep running back, but guys on the practice squad and things like that. So, hey, we're banged up everywhere else. But we're deep on practice squad. We're deep on IR. So we're 4 to 6 weeks to, middle season before we start getting guys back.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
what does that look like? I mean, can we win 2 games and hope that Tua can come in and can we split 1-1? I mean, these
Yeah.
are real conversations that these 2 individuals are really having a heart to heart, you
Yep,
know?
and they have to be had, because these leading into these next couple of games is going to be really important because they're going to have to go on the road to Seattle, which is one of the longest trips in the U.S. trips that there is. We went up there in 1999 and closed out the dome, and had to come back and then took that bad one by the Jacksonville Jaguars. But this is not an easy trip. And then you have a Monday night with the Titans and New England Patriots that didn't buy. But it's going to be a tough road. But I think also last week you look at Green Bay, who lost their starting quarterback.
Right, right,
Right. Yep. And then all of a sudden they come up with the backup and they get a win.
right.
Like, is
I mean,
there.
right. What every coach from my perspective on defense and back in the day, understanding and just recent college, everybody knows if you're number 2, you're the down the line. You're the quarterback. You're the coach on the sideline, right? So
Hmm.
what do you expect out of number 2? You expect out of number 2 to not really lose the game, but
Hmm.
not also to win the game. So
Yeah.
for number 2 that are veterans, savvy veterans, depending on who they are, if for the guy that we have, Tyler Huntley, he's a dual threat.
Mhm.
He runs. So if we see him in the game, then you're looking at they're going to run the ball. They're going to do all their trickery, their fast stuff. They're going across, catch you up. So you got a dual threat going at you. So most everybody know that a quarterback that's the number two, he's typically the coach on the sideline. So he has to manage the game. So now, for what people fail to realize is that that's a coach's dream as a head coach, right? Because
Right.
now it's Brock Purdy of the world. It's
Hmm.
that guy that's going to listen to me. Now, as
Hmm.
a head coach, I get to play quarterback
Yeah. Yeah.
in the helmet of the number two guy. The
Yeah.
number one guy, I'm saying, how do we allow the number one guy to make his plays? The number two guys, hey, run the offense.
Yeah.
Let's go.
And even with Skyler, right? You look at A Chain, the running back, and a lot of just the way that Mike, rotated a lot of these players. Like he's had opportunities with the tight ends, with the running backs, to throw the ball to Tyreek and to throw the ball to Waddle. But when you get in a situation, then you have other guys in there. The chemistry is not there with a lot of the players. So that's why
Right.
I think it's still important, throughout the course of, training camp and even through the season. One, two of those reps need to go to those backup just to have just a little quick chemistry to throw a now pass out there to the guys so they can, because everything is going quick, everything is going fast. And we talk about, guys having very good preseason. Caleb Williams up in Chicago and other rookie quarterbacks around the league over the last umpteen number of years. Preseason, they're doing wonderful. And then all of a sudden, defensive coordinator's like, not so fast. Okay, we didn't show you this. We didn't show you that. And
Right.
now this is stuff that these kids
Right.
don't really have opportunity to see. And then they have to develop and learn and grow. But that's the National Football League. And this is where we are. And, injuries happen and it's just part of it. But, last week, Turo, Thursday, after that Thursday night game, I took off, man. I went to, my daughter's birthday, was last week. So I went to, Kansas City. She had a
Okay.
lacrosse tournament. So last year, William Jules, it was their inaugural year. So it was all freshmen and then one fifth year senior. Um,
Wow.
Transfer, right? She came from a program where she was in the same situation as, all the other girls on my daughter's team. So now all of a sudden there are a lot of sophomores, then they have a couple more freshmen. They got opportunities to, you know, get subbed in and out. They're fresh, and man, it was another team, and they really smashed them. I think we scored like 24 points, and it was like three. But
What?
I felt good for them, man, because they got beat like that last year in
A
a
year
couple.
before.
So I
Yeah,
was
yeah,
like,
yeah.
no, that's good.
Redemption time. Enjoy that. Yeah. Try to score 30.
I'm trying to score
Absolutely.
30. Yeah, man. And then I just
Absolutely.
made it a trip. I also went to the Chiefs game, sat there as a fan, man. That was amazing. And, and when you're a coach, Tori, you're a player, you're trained to drown all of that, the sound and the noise out and
Right.
focus on hand signals, being able to communicate with your teammates. But man, I was sitting
Mm-hmm.
in the stand, man, and I was feeling it, man. It really was loud. I walked, up the ramp, man, the whole way up. They got, Kansas City chant, the same exact way that walking up the Dolphins, man, man, it's just fun to be able to be hanging out with the fans and experiencing these tailgates and just have an opportunity to see from a different perspective as well.
Right. The ultimate fanfare, I call it. It's the ultimate fanfare and understanding that feeling. I experienced it just recently, the first game of the season in Carolina.
Hmm. Hmm.
It was totally you honestly, Sam, you feel like you're the only one in the stadium. And you feel like everybody looking at you. Ain't nobody paying no attention to you.
No
So then you
attention.
then you give in and understand. Oh wow! And it's
Huh?
funny because they're like, "Well, throw the ball." Like nobody was open. Run the ball. He has to throw it.
Oh
But
my God.
it's the ultimate fanfare, man. So so just looking at that, understanding that it's a blessing to do that. You're
Mm-hmm.
going full circle, man.
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy for you to see that you're doing that, and at the same time, you get to enjoy your kids. So that's
Yeah.
that's amazing within itself, man. So you got me a little jealous. I'm thinking about I got to make sure I get one more road trip in for the season, or maybe two in the
Oh,
season
I got a
this
couple
year
more. I have a couple
for
more.
college,
So
and I got some lined up for the NFL. So I got some in my little box that I'm trying to figure it out, trying to see some guys that I've had opportunity to train and things like that. So definitely with the fanfare. But you know what? I love the Dolphins coming
oh,
back,
absolutely.
getting ready
100.
for going way out to Seattle.
Yeah.
Talk about that. I mean, that's we last time we were together, we played Seattle. They had Jerry Rice, bro. Jerry
I
freak.
know.
Listen. I have a Jerry Rice story right quick. Let me tell you my Jerry Rice story before we get to the Seahawks. Jerry Rice is playing on the Seahawks. And I got an interception that game. I'm feeling myself the whole time. I'm talking to Jerry Rice, and Jerry ain't never say nothing back, Sam.
Nothing.
Nothing back. I'm like, man, we gonna give it to you. We out here. I mean, I'm just saying whatever comes to my brain.
Huh?
Man, I literally. So I said it about two times. On the third time, I think the next series, I said, "Hey Jerry, hey, after the game, man, you assign my gloves." He just turned. He turned around and laughed. He turned, he turned around and just laughed, bro. Just like I had to show. I had to shoot my shot, man. I'm playing against a Hall of Famer, man. I mean, at the end of the day, this is what it is. You
Hey,
know?
Arturo, man, same, right? So I'm a rookie, 1997. Man, I had surgery on my ankle. I'm playing for Jimmy. And my first game back, it was the fourth game of the year. It was the last game of the season, and we played Green Bay. Man, I go out there, and I know Leroy Butler, right? I know him personally, so
Right.
I'm speaking, and then all of a sudden I see Brett Favre. I'm like, oh my God. I like, hey, man, I left it. He was like, man, son, he was like, I like, hey, man. And I like, man, can I have your jersey? I did Brett Favre. He's like, man, he's like, get
Absolutely.
out of here. So, man, needless to say, I played with this guy, Frank Walker, at New York. Frank left us and went to Green Bay, man, and I shipped my jersey to Frank, and Frank got it signed to him. Yeah, boy, so I got that
Yeah.
jersey signed.
Man, that's the only thing I regret not taking advantage of getting
Yep,
more jerseys and more footballs and against the guys that we've in the locker room
yep,
that we played with as teammates, as we played against. But we got countless stories.
yeah,
But I regret not getting, so now I try to take advantage of it. If I run
yep,
into a guy, I'm like, man, you got old jersey, man. Let me send you my address, man. I'm gonna send you something, man. Just,
yep,
just put it in there. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, it's the stories, man. Ain't nothing like being able to tell the stories
yep.
with the object or the item in front of you. Make it
There
all a
you
little
go.
bit more believable. Because we're gonna mix it up just a little bit more.
And
So, like I
to
said earlier, our lovely Dolphins are taking a hike playing against Seattle this weekend, man. How do you feel about this, Sam?
well, well, when you look at this game, right? And it's a long trek,
hmm
and it's still the beginning of the season. You look at the coaching, you look at the coaches, and the pedigree. It's going to be a physical football game.
right,
It's going to be physical. It's going to be one of those situations where Mac Donald, he comes from where he's a defensive coordinator with the Ravens. So
right, right.
they're going to put a cap over the top of the the,
Tyreek,
the Tyreek and Waddle.
coach,
We got
you
to be
see
able to
the
run the
blueprint?
football game. We got to run the
Remember,
football. So we're going to need
right? Buffalo just
We're going to need Raheem Mostert. He got to be able to
yeah,
run the football, and
right,
that is what Seattle does. They run the ball. So
right,
it's going to be very interesting. I'm always pulling for our guys, and because we have, the personnel there to match up with pretty much any team in the league.
right,
But again, it's going to come down to they love to pressure. How's Skyler going to be able to handle that pressure? And this is a team that sit back, wait, allow you to make mistakes, and then they capitalize off of them. So minimizing those mistakes, again, just like week one when I said Mike is going to have to manage this game with Skyler, not putting him in tough situations, and using the play clock and using the defense to win this football game, and not pulling those big plays out and putting Skyler in situations where he has tough situations to read because there's going to be a lot of disguises.
Yeah, absolutely. As you stated earlier, the Seahawks are solid, man. I
Yep.
mean, they're solid. They have the demeanor. They may not be demonstrating the Legion of Boom. That era is not there, but they're coming into their own right now. They're sixth overall right now in the
Yeah.
NFL. They're only allowing an average of 270 yards per game, man.
Yep.
Been very effective at limiting big plays.
Yep.
Ranking second in the league by holding opponents to just four yards per play. That's good football, Sam.
Yeah. That's great football.
That's good. That's good. That's freaking good football. So
Yeah.
I agree with you concerning what one of the keys that Mike has to do is manage the game, and we got to run the ball. But I think
Yeah.
it's a good start over. You know how sometimes you have to restart when you lose that game, especially a regular your conference game you lose. You have to reset, and the
Yeah.
best way to reset in the NFL is being able to run the ball.
Yep. Run the
Hands
ball.
down. Get
The
your
hand.
linemen ready. Get your guys excited about running the ball. And if you can run the ball this game to reset everything that's going on, I think
Mhm.
we'll be fine. We'll
Yeah,
be
they're gonna
fine.
be fine. Yeah, they're gonna be fine, and then they're gonna come up with a good game plan. And but we're gonna have to go back to what the Buffalo Bills did to the Dolphins offense. Man, they put a cap, they put an
They
umbrella
did. They
over
did.
Tyreek and over Waddle, and they
Everybody's
made
taking pictures of that.
yeah
That when they play the Dolphins, what film they're gonna bring out? They're gonna bring out the
no,
Buffalo Bills film.
no well they're
Middle
gonna first they're
Hamlin was
gonna
20 yards deep in the middle of the field.
first they're gonna go and they're gonna look at the Kansas City Chiefs game over in Germany. And then they're
Mhm.
going to come and look at the Kansas City Chiefs game for that wild card game. Because that was really the only couple of games that, teams were able to limit us, from big play capabilities. And the Buffalo Bills, I think they took a page out of Kansas City Chiefs
Absolutely,
playbook.
man. I mean, every time I looked back there, I saw them doing something underneath,
Yep.
and I saw Hamlin 20 yards deep.
20
So
yards
I
deep.
said 20 yards deep. So I said, okay, they're scoping. They're putting the top on it.
Yeah.
So no matter what you do, we're not going to give you the deep ball.
Yeah.
Take the dink and dunk, run the ball, but you're not going to throw and do explosives. And
But
it worked.
yeah, but Turo, watching that game and with the turnovers that Tua did have
Right.
on one of those interceptions, do you know Waddle or Tyreek was not on the field on that interception? Man, listen,
Yeah.
man,
Yeah.
man, one
Yeah.
of
I
those
saw that.
players need to be on the field at all
At all
times,
times.
if
The
not
substitution, yes,
on the
I
field
agree.
at
The
all times.
substitution has to be regulated. You know it. We talked about the big three. So at the end of the
Man,
day, no matter what, if it's always got to be big two on there,
man,
regardless.
somebody got to be on that field.
Right? You can't listen, and you listen. At the end of the day, this is a business, and we saw that Robbie Chosen was released,
Yep.
but one of the interceptions came when he ran the wrong route,
No, no.
or
He,
or
he
whatever it
we
was.
just talked
Not
about
sure.
the Turo. The safety was over the top. Why am I going to keep on running over the top when the guy's up there? You
Right.
got to break the route off.
Option
And that
route in
ball
the
got to
league.
be
That's the number one thing. Every
that
across the
ball.
32
Man,
teams choose
Robbie,
that.
man, I think that was a bad ball. I don't care
Yeah.
what you say. That was a bad ball. That wasn't his fault. He
Right.
broke the route
Right.
off. Turo, you just
Right.
talked about two high safeties.
Right. Right. And that's like the ABCs in the NFL. Those guys ain't gonna keep stretching it if they're two guys over the top. Like that don't make sense. Quarterback, you should see that. Now my eyes are on my receiver. He shut it down. Ball coming outside where he the only one can get it, or it's gonna be an incomplete.
Man, one of
So
my
yeah,
keys, Arturo, was talking about Dalvin Cook, no explosive plays,
oh
but
man, he
the
looked
defense was on short fields
yeah.
multiple times. But one of the good things is, and I don't know what they're waiting for, but Javon Holland, man, saved the day going into the end zone, punches the ball out. Man, that is something that they practice, they harp on it. He consistently works on it and he tries it all the time, but he was one of the most consistent rap tacklers on the defense. And, we
Yeah.
had a couple of missed tackles from the big money man. So just being able to continue to get better in that perspective, man, they just got to keep working and keep harping on the small things.
Well, I allude that to the 4 weeks, man, in preseason where they can't in practice and training when they can't tackle. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Like, we Lord knows I came into town when we did tackle. So so I do understand that part. But we practiced very fast and our fits felt like we call it thud.
Mm-hmm.
Felt like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And knowing how to engage and knowing how to wrap up the right way. And I remember it was to be so bad that remember Ricky Williams told us don't touch him.
Don't
And we still hit him and every time we hit him and push him into the fence. Like the NFL leading rusher, that dude was amazing, but that's how we practice. That's
Yeah, that's how we
that's what made
roll.
us a good defense. That's how you can't. I'm sorry, you can't learn how to tackle until you tackle. That's
Yeah.
just what it is. I mean, I don't care how much you try to. And people create machines and apparatus and bags and all these tackling dummies until you are able to wrap up, feel it, take to the ground if you can. If you don't, you can still feel it when it's a good tackle. You just know it. Okay, I can let him go because I know I would have made that tackle. And I think we're going to see that the first 4 weeks of football. I think we're going to see it
Mhm.
across the league, Sam. We're going to see it across the league. We're going to see bad tackling. You're seeing it in college football.
Yeah.
You're
Yep.
seeing it right now in college football really bad.
Yeah.
With games that should be closed up right away, plays being broken right away. So that's why I say to guys all the time, if you really want to make your mark, the first 4 weeks. You can win a Heisman in the first 4 weeks. You go to the Pro Bowl in the first 4 weeks. Take advantage of the lap. Take advantage of the what the outside rules have affected this game.
Yeah,
Take
man.
advantage of it for
I
real.
love it. I love it, man. And you hit on something. You start talking about college football, man. Let's just hit on some of that stuff as well. They ended up playing Florida A&M like we talked about. Wanted to hit 80. They did come back and play very well. And then they have this week coming up. They will end up playing UCF. That's going to be a tough game. But the Gators. They have Mississippi State. They ended up coming back having a big win last week, and then they'll have Mississippi State this week. Florida State, man, listen, the top 25 team to start 0-3. I think it was Penn State in 2020 or something like that. It's been a very long time since the top team in the top 25 ended up 0-3. And
Yeah,
Memphis
big
losing to
big
Memphis
loss
at
against
home.
Memphis.
Yep.
Mike Norvell's old team,
Yep.
his team that catapulted his career.
Yep.
Memphis has done a lot with a lot of coaches.
Yep.
That they call it, that's the coaches hotbed there in Memphis. You have
Hmm.
the big time agent. A lot of coaches come through that carousel because the kids play for them over there. They get a
Yep.
good group of kids. Are they still in Conference USA, one of those conferences where they just play football, man?
Yeah, man.
They don't
They've
no matter
always
the
been
matchup.
tough. In Louisville, we used to play them a lot, and we always fight before every game. They've always been tough. But yeah, man, Louisville, they jumped to 19, and be playing a tough Georgia Tech team, and pretty much going to have Notre Dame on their mind. But they can't be sleeping on Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech is a good football team, so a lot of good stuff coming up, man. But Turo, we didn't have an opportunity to congratulate, right? Our teammate, our former teammate, Pat Surtain, coaching at Florida State, but his son, man, we didn't congratulate Michelle and Parker and Paris. Man,
Absolutely.
Man, this guy signed one of the top defensive backs in the National Football League.
Yeah, the number one guy. That's hats off to the family, to the
Yeah.
Surtain family. Um, to Pat Jr. Like you alluded to, the family, the nucleus. You know, you have to the
Mhm.
mom, sisters. You know, you have because it is definitely a family affair. You know,
Yep.
Pat has done a good job as a father from
Hmm.
outside looking in to keep his family as tight knit
Yep.
throughout the coaching carousel. I mean, they've been together from outside, from a bird's eye view, from his family. They're a sports family, man. They're
Yep.
definitely a sports family, and their labors have paid off in Pat Jr. And I'm sure it's paying off with the daughters too as well. So
Yeah, man.
hats off to Pat.
Man, watching.
Congratulations to him.
Had opportunity to watch him, since he's been small. Once Pat came back from Kansas City, and then, you know, I was coaching at South Florida Express with Brett Getz, and he was in the ninth grade. He came out, and I was like, no, you're not going to stand in the back of the line, and you're going next. Throw him out there. No,
Yeah,
man. Go
yeah.
ahead.
I mean,
Hey, man,
you
listen.
made.
You're not going to sit back here and just sit here and watch, and yeah, they're going to skip you. No, you're going to go out there because we know that you can do it, and you just got to trust it and go. And man, he took off. So
Yeah, man.
congratulations to
Yeah.
those guys, man, and everything. But we got a big week. So let's get to these keys to the game, Turo. So what do you think the Dolphins have to do? Geno Smith, right here from our backyard, Miramar
Mhm.
High School. He also played on South Florida Express with Brett Getz as a travel team. What's your
Mhm.
keys going into this football game versus Seattle?
All right, before my keys, I'm gonna allude to you said Brett Getz, South Florida Express, another player on the Seahawks, the Seattle Seahawks, Kenny McIntosh,
Yep.
UC grad, University of Georgia alum, standout. Um,
Mm-hmm.
third running back. Really had a great preseason. Look forward to seeing him explode this year and contribute in a big way. So definitely those two key guys we'll be keeping our eyes on. So the keys for this weekend game is for us to be able to run the ball.
Yep.
Time management, Mike managing the plays, managing Skyler, be able to get the run game going, the dink and dunk, and not only just north and south, Sam. Get our big two into the run game. You know, when they're getting those little hitches and those little screens, they're little running backs as well. So at the
Yep.
end of the day, the outside game, outside runs with them, getting our inside runs and our zone runs with Raheem and Achin, just getting those guys going. You know, just causing confusion and causing just a pad on a pad. You know, defensive wide keys is the fact that to keep Geno intact. Geno's not going to beat you doing a lot of different things, but when Geno gets hot, he can beat you.
Yep.
So tackle fundamentals. You know, these next two games, one at a time, tackle well. Continue to do the fundamentals. Take away the deep threats. Tackle well. As they say, be relentless to the ball. You know, if our
Yep.
guys swarm the ball, our guys tackle well on defense, eliminate big plays. I think we could use this game as a restart. You know,
Mm-hmm.
so offense, two keys. My favorite keys is managing the game and run the ball. On defense, fundamentally sound, tackle, and no big plays.
Awesome. Love it all day long. For me, I'm going to go also run the game, run the ball. We got to run it. We got to establish it. We got to continue to stick with it. We got to keep Skylar out of harm's way. But, you can't keep the training wheel on all day. But, the next thing is we're going to also continue the screen game. The screen game was awesome. So, with that
Right.
screen game, it's going to be able to open up some of those over routes, but we have to be able to break tackles.
Right.
These guys, they're relentless to the ball. Seattle, they have that Baltimore mentality, but yet and still, you talked about the Legion of Boom. They still live up to that name around there and the tradition, and just the mindset, of trying to be dominant in their division. And I already know this is going to happen, and we have to win it. The Metcalf versus Ramsey
Oh
matchup.
yeah.
Yeah, and Ramsey is going to want to follow him. He's going to want to If he was in the slot outside, we have to win that matchup. So now what that entails is, the other one-on-one matchups on the outside. Kendall Fuller, he has to be good, and, they have some very quick, fast guys. So, that's my keys to the game. And, good job, Turo, once again, giving us great information, great insight. But I just want to give a shout out to the guy on the other side of the glass, Brandon. He is a Detroit Lions fan. They started out good versus the Rams, and then
Hang on in there.
came up
Hang on in there.
yeah, came up a little short versus Tampa Bay Bucks. But they're going to be out at Arizona. Arizona coming off a good win with Kyler and Marvin Harrison. So Brandon, hey, you got your hands full this week, but let's continue to have very good success and keep loving on our Miami Dolphins, and we're going to continue to have great success and be pulling for it. I'm Sam Madison. Who are you?
Arturo Freeman.
Hey man, and this is a 2-9 reporter, man. We definitely going to see y'all guys next time.